Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Deep Dive podcast on the Podbean platform. I'm your host, Rogers Harrison. I am joined today by Brian Koperick. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Rogers. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
Now, Brian, today on the Sports Deep Dive podcast, which is still commercial free, so
Yes.
you can listen to it and not worry about being interrupted by ads. Today on the Sports Deep Dive podcast, we're going to talk about something that you normally don't like. Sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk. We've got an ongoing series about the sports and the media.
Right.
And we've taken a look at the NCAA. We've taken a look at the NFL. And today we're going to focus, since it's the summer, on Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Now, Major League Baseball, as you know, has been around since 1876, but television is not that old. Major League Baseball began broadcasting television since the 1950s. Now, the initial broadcasts were on the experimental station W2XBS, which is a predecessor of the modern WNBC in New York City.
Oh, okay.
And can you guess what WNBC is affiliate of?
NBC.
Yeah, there you go. He's more than just a pretty face, folks. Now, the World Series was televised on a network basis since 1947.
Okay.
With regular season games beginning broadcast nationally since 1953. Each of the big three networks, that'd be ABC, CBS, and NBC, have at various times shown Major League Baseball. Now, Fox, which is the current network rights holder, would rise to major network status, partially because of its acquisition of NFL rights. And I don't know if you remember us talking about that, about how when they acquired the NFL, that kind of leaped Fox into being
Right.
just more than just the network that gives you The Simpsons and
Right.
America's
Made them a major network.
America's Most Wanted and Cops. Those were their earlier offerings. Now, the broadcast would eventually go on to other platforms. When I say other platforms, I basically mean cable. You had out-of-market baseball would attract customers to superstations in the late 20th century, such as WGN and WTBS, airing Chicago Cubs and Atlanta Braves games, respectively.
Yep.
MLB also played a big role in the growth of ESPN. Their package with ESPN started in 1990. Before Major League Baseball got involved with ESPN, ESPN was mostly showing just college stuff. And Major League Baseball was ESPN's first professional foray into professional sports. Now you could argue, well, what about the hot dog eating contest on July 4th, and what about like bowling and stuff? Those are professional. Okay, you got me. Out of the big three sports, that'd be the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and you could even say
and really,
NHL.
Other than the hot dog contest, I doubt any of it drew that much anyway.
Right.
And that's only was basically big on the 4th until, well, still.
Right.
Yeah.
TBS, which had the national feed spun off from WTBS, has been airing nationally televised games of MLB since 2007.
Okay.
MLB launched its own cable network in 2009 called the MLB Network, and they air several live games a week. And MLB broadcasts have also been shown on Fox's various sister cable networks, with Fox Sports 1 airing games since 2014. MLB began streaming games via the internet in 2017, with Twitter and Facebook initially acquiring the rights to some games. YouTube and Peacock have since streamed games, and as of 2024, Apple TV Plus and the Roku channel currently hold packages of MLB games. Now, the Peacock package, which they started, only lasted a year, and MLB wanted more money for those, and Peacock was like, no. And so those games are now on the Roku channel.
Okay.
And they air Sunday mornings, usually maybe 11:30 or noon Eastern time on Sunday mornings, which is earlier. It's considered the first game of the day, and it's earlier than most teams will start their games at 1 o'clock or 1:35 local time. And so to have Roku have, hey, let's do 11:30 or 1. I think Peacock even did as early as 11 a.m. And I think some teams are like, no,
We're not doing
yeah, can we just do 11:30? So there you go. Games not picked up by the national stations, or picked up local broadcasts with local broadcast stations, or regional sports network, which will televise the team in their particular region. And a number of nationally televised games are also non-exclusive, meaning that the national telecast may also air in tandem with those of the game by local broadcasters. Now you'll see a lot of that on FS1 during the week. All right, now you're probably asking, well, that's great about the U.S., but what about Canada? Because, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, Sportsnet holds the rights to Toronto Blue Jays games, and they've done it since 1999. And they will also carry other MLB games simulcast from a U.S. feed.
Okay.
So basically, Sunday morning and Sunday night, Tuesday when TBS does theirs, maybe a Thursday or Friday game when MLB Network does theirs. They call it the MLB Network Showcase. Sportsnet may pick up those games and
play them as well.
Yeah, so that'll be just wall to wall baseball. So let's take a little deep dive into the years of each of the U.S. Broadcasters. Now I told you about the internet and the timeline for there, but now let's take a look at the network stations. You ready?
Let's do it.
ABC televised Major League Baseball from 1948 and 1950. Those were the World Series years. And then they started showing regular season games from 53 to 54. They went again. They picked up again in 59 and went all the way to 61. Aired a single season in 65. Then broadcast from 1976 to 1989. And then they broadcast 2020 to 2025. And that was the wild card series only. That was the postseason. The Baseball Network was a joint venture between Major League Baseball, ABC, and NBC. Now, do you remember the Baseball Network at all?
The MLB Baseball Network?
Well, the Baseball Network was on local TV. And like I said, it was a joint venture between Major League Baseball, ABC, and NBC. And so what would happen is they tried to do the NFL model, right? So you would have like Saturday or Monday night, right? You would have the Baseball Network would show either on your ABC or NBC affiliate, depending on whether it was the first half of the season or the second half of the season. And all the games would be regional. So you'd see, if you were in Michigan, you'd see your precious Detroit Tigers. And what happened is that the commentators were generally from the teams.
like Al Caroline would have been.
would have been maybe doing the play-by-play, and then
Yeah.
somebody from the opposing, like the Yankees, would have been maybe doing color or vice versa or whatever. And so it was real neat because both analysts were knowledgeable on
The teams.
the two teams as opposed to listen to analysts that's knowledgeable maybe on one team. Baseball Network only lasted one season, 94 and 95. CBS broadcast from 47 to 51, then again from 55 to 65, and then again from 1990 to 1993. They have not televised baseball since 1993. Dumont, one of those former networks, which died, 1947 and 1949, they televised Major League Baseball. Fox has been televising Major League Baseball since 1996. NBC has been doing it from 47 to 89, then from 96 to 2000, and then 2022 to 2023, and that was one game only per season. Unimas, Spanish network, began last year in 2024 and is still televising today.
Okay.
Cable television. All right, I'm going to go through this. We had ABC Family Channel. That's televised Major League Baseball. ESPN has been televising since 1990. Fox Family Channel. There was Fox Family. It was the Family Channel, then Fox acquired it, and then ABC acquired it. Fox Sports Net, Fox Sports 1, FS1, FX, MLB Network, which we talked about, 2009 to the present. TBS with their national package since 2007. TDUN has been broadcasting it since last year, 2024, and the USA Network also televised some major league games. We've talked about
That's crazy how many different networks.
well, how many cable or
At
the
one
broadcast?
ti- yeah, at one time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because you had basically, and every day it's been covered since their package. Sunday afternoon, morning, you've had NBC, Peacock, the Roku, ESPN. Sunday night is ESPN. Monday night has been the Baseball Network or ESPN or FS1 or MLB Network. Tuesday nights,
And they're all paying MLB for the rights to some package of games,
Yep.
which is, I guess, how we can afford these crazy baseball salaries. I mean, that's insanity.
Well, all right. So let's take the Minnesota Twins, who we've talked about on this podcast before.
Right.
So the Minnesota Twins, well, basically were being televised by Valley Sports or Fox Sports North, Valley Sports North, and then they lost that contract. So the Minnesota Twins have done a broadcast TV type of network type of thing. So they'll get money from that. They'll get money from ESPN and Fox and TBS, and they'll get money from all the playoffs, that FS1 and MLB Network and everybody. They'll get all this TV money that's divided on to them. And everybody gets the same national share of money. But the New York Yankees, who own the Yes Network, and show their games locally, will get more money for their TV than the Twins do, because the Twins just have set up a local broadcast network type of thing.
I got you.
So that, yeah. But let's shift. All right, so we've talked about the U.S. We've talked about Canada with Sportsnet showing national games from the U.S. feeds, and also having the Toronto Blue Jays local package. But did you know that Major League Baseball has been broadcast on a regular basis in the United Kingdom since the 1980s?
No.
Yep. Initially shown on Channel 4, it was aired on a satellite channel, Screen Sport. And following Screen Sport's closure in '93, Sky Sports took over as the UK's broadcaster. I don't know if you're familiar with Sky Sports, but they're basically like the ESPN. I mean,
Gotcha.
they're the round-the-clock sports thing. 97, there was a newly launched broadcaster, Channel 5, and they took over as the rights holder, showing 2 games a week, including Sunday Night Baseball, under the title of MLB on 5. You know, instead of Sunday Night Baseball, MLB on 5. But because of the global reception in around 2008, they decided to end their coverage of Major League Baseball. So they're no longer showing it.
Okay.
So, yeah, and NASN, NASN, shown Major League Baseball in UK, and they were renamed ESPN America, so they could show. And then, but they stopped, and in 2023, TNT Sports replaced them and continues to air Major League Baseball, but without ESPN being produced on it. Small number of games in 2019 broadcast by the BBC. BBC also had coverage of the inaugural MLB London series. So yeah, I'm going to. I see your eyes are glazing over. So I just want to tell you that. All right. So we talked about W2XBS, which is now WNBC. So the 1939 World's Fair. Do you remember the 1939 World's Fair? Because we talked about it. That's where like a lot of the
concessions started and all that stuff. It was in Chicago.
Showed this new technology, and it was called television back then.
The telly.
And then that, W2XBS was there and showed, look, we could televise Major League Baseball games. And like, ooh. And so they televised at the World's Fair a doubleheader between the Cincinnati Reds and the Brooklyn Dodgers, and that was on August 26, 1939.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I would say that would be a major seller for this new technology of television, was people wanting to see their games at home.
Yeah. And for a long time, I don't know about you, growing up, loving the Detroit Tigers and Jack Morris and all that, but for a long time, the only way you could see Major League Baseball was on Saturday's game of the week.
Right.
Now, like I said, you had the super stations. You had WGN showing the Cubs. You had WTBS showing the Braves. And then you had WWOR out of Secaucus, New Jersey showing the Mets. But if you didn't watch those, the only baseball you saw was
the game of the week.
The game of the week.
Unless you went.
Right.
Right.
But now, I mean, you can see your favorite team
anytime, anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And I watch my favorite team through the FanDuel Sports app. No, that's not an endorsement. I'm just telling you what I do. So, yeah. And also, not only do these TV partners pay for the game of the week or a couple of games a week, they also are paying for the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, and the postseason. In fact, right now, ESPN was paying Major League Baseball $550 million for their package. And I believe that was a year. And that included the Home Run Derby, that included some postseason games, and that included the Sunday night MLB game. Now, when an MLB first started its partnership with ESPN, they had Wednesday night. They showed Wednesday night and Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
They showed the home run derby. They didn't show any postseason because it was smaller back then. Only 4 teams got into it from both leagues. And they also had coverage like Baseball Tonight. I don't remember that talking show about showing highlights and studio talk about Major League Baseball. Well, they went away with the Wednesday night, and they went away, and they really don't show that many studio shows anymore on baseball. And so ESPN was like, you know what? Why are we paying
all this money?
And so they opted out, and Major League Baseball opted out. So as far as 2026 is concerned, all that package is on the table. Now there's talk that NBC might pick up the ESPN Sunday night package. That way, ESPN would have a full Sunday night, because they're also going to have, starting the NBA this fall.
Right.
So they would have Sunday night football, Sunday night NBA, and then Sunday night baseball. So basically, regardless of what day or what time of the year it is,
There's a
you
Sunday
could
night
watch.
game.
Yeah, you could turn into NBC and watch something on Sunday night sports, whether football or NBA or baseball. And there was talk about that. There was talk about maybe Amazon getting involved. Amazon has basically said, yeah, well, we don't want regular season games unless there's something big happening, right?
Right.
We'll take the playoffs, but no.
Everybody wants the playoffs.
Right. Apple TV has been rumored to be getting involved in that type of thing. So that's where and even TBS or which is now TNT Sports has been thinking about maybe expanding their role as well.
Okay.
So it's just interesting about
all the different players.
all the difference. And ESPN has gone back to Major League Baseball, and they've tried to work out something, maybe not something at $550 million, but maybe a smaller thing. But to be honest with you, as a sports fan, I kind of would like to see that branding of NBC, since it would have the NFL and the NBA,
It would be a smart move for them.
Yeah, Sunday night you're going to be watching NBC.
It.
Yeah. And no, NBC is not a sponsor either. I'm just saying my thinking, my own personal thoughts. My opinions do not necessarily reflect the views of Podbean or Brian Kaparick. Thank you. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I tried to keep it simple for you.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't want you to nod off. Now, also in this series of sports and the media, we're also going to look at the NBA and their package. They just got a new, spanking brand new TV deal with some new TV partners. So we'll talk about them, and we'll also talk about the TV package of one of your favorite sports, and that'd be the NHL.
Ooh.
And we might mention briefly, I don't know if it'll be a full podcast, but we'll talk about the Major League Soccer.
Okay.
And their deal with Apple. Before we begin, I want to remind everybody that also, we've got all these regional sports networks, as I mentioned, that cover Major League Baseball. They're kind of slowly dying out as FanDuel and others are going into bankruptcy and that type of thing. There is, and then more streaming options are becoming available. MLB TV, which has the MLB Extra Innings, which
everybody's
you can see.
just kind of doing their own thing now.
Right.
Aren't they?
But the problem with all this are the blackouts.
Right.
These blackouts, which were, basically set in the 40s and 50s under radio guidelines. That's why Las Vegas has like 6 teams that are blacked out. It makes no sense. Hawaii, I think it's the San Francisco Giants.
It's
You know,
blacked out there.
It's blacked out there. So, if you were a Giants fan and you went to Hawaii for a week, want to see the Giants, nope.
No can do.
Nope. And you couldn't see any games involving the Giants. So the Giants were playing the Dodgers. Nope, can't see it. Whatever. Alaska, I think, I forget who Alaska is, but it's just crazy.
Right.
And they really need, my opinion again, Major League Baseball, they need to set up a radius.
Yeah.
This team is blacked out from all games, 25 miles radius of their home ballpark. That way you won't have people in non-major league cities where you live outside of Nashville that,
Can't see it.
that can't. Well, because I think in this area, the Braves and the Reds are blacked out. And, what? Why?
Right. We're 4 hours and 6 hours away from those two stadiums.
Yeah. And then, you would think that if you live in a non-major league town like Nashville or Birmingham or Las Vegas,
You'd get everything.
you wouldn't be blacked out. So you would think Major League Baseball that would be a no-brainer because more people would be seeing your product and that type of thing.
Exactly. That's what doesn't make sense is that they're limiting themselves.
Right.
And then people get tired of oh, I can't watch baseball, Because I think I may have became a Braves fan had I been able to watch Braves games easily.
Well, growing up, you had TBS to watch Braves
Yeah.
games.
But I didn't have a TV growing up.
Okay.
So I'm talking about from college on, I was still interested in baseball. I actually drove down to Atlanta for a few games here and there because, it was a lot of fun and like that. And liked Atlanta at that time, but you can't watch their games. It's just not,
Yeah.
Having it blacked out sucks.
Yes, well, it does.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, any closing thoughts there, Brian Copera?
No, this was interesting. The tie-in to the starting with the World Fair and the television, and it's interesting to me how many different cable networks and all that are covering it. It's you think about other sports do not have that vast of a coverage.
Yeah, and some fans have often complained about that. It's like, okay, what channel is or what network is televising my team tonight?
Oh well, I could see that being a problem.
Yeah,
because you can Google that.
And I agree with you. For instance, the Atlanta Braves were playing the Baltimore Orioles, and that was the Roku game. So it was at Sunday morning at 11:30 Atlanta time, Eastern time, and some people are like, Roku. How do I get Roku? What time are the Braves on? And yes, you can Google all that, and you've got.
But do you even necessarily have access to all of those? Because if you don't have a Roku, you're not getting the Roku channel.
Yeah.
And are you going to own 8 different streaming devices to be able to see it on? They're not on Apple and Amazon, but you know what I'm saying? I need a Fire Stick, a Roku. That could be problematic with that. But everybody wants their piece. So.
That's right. Mr. Koperick, if people want to reach out to you social media, I don't know why, but if they want to, how would they do that?
Right. Yeah, you can get me at randomthingsatbk@gmail.com, or you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Random Things with BK.
All right, and I am Roger Harrison, and I am mostly on Blue Sky. And you can look for me on Blue Sky. I'm under the handle 318 North. That's 318 North. So for Brian Koperick and for all the good folks back at the studio in Podbean, I am Roger Harrison, and so long, everybody.